Hey folks, Troy Anderson here from Anderson Training Systems and Alpha Kettlebell Fitness, and this is a video specifically. She was either our head cheerleader or our manager during our high school wrestling team. So this is kind of my wrestling tribute video series that you're going to see coming up here. And she's got a young son. He's 11 years old. He has a kettlebell, and so I told her I would shoot a few wrestling relevant movements for him that are going to be pretty easy to learn, pretty easy for him to implement in regards to that. So this is for your son, Nikki. I'm going to show you basically a sequence where we're going to undulate between a kind of a higher metabolic, less technical drill and a little bit more metabolic drill. So you can kind of work back and forth on them. We're trying to work on all things relevant for wrestling, so changing elevation, kind of some unilateral stuff that might look like a takedown move, core strength, really rotational and braced positions. So those are all things we look at. We're looking at just 4 drills. We're going to have some combinations on them. So the series will be a squat thrust with a 2-hand high pull, windmills, then we're going to go into windmills, then swings, and then we're going to go into a clean with a lunge and press. So I'm going to show you how to clean. It's going to be a little more technical than what I wanted to show, but you got to learn how to clean in order to get into the rack position to do the drop lunge and then do the press. So that's how it's going to go. So what you want to do is you want to kind of undulate these two things. So your more technical drills, so the drills like your windmill and your clean with lunge and press are going to be lower repetitions. So somewhere in the 3 to 5 rep range. For the squat thrust and high pull and the swing, you can do that for time work or a little higher repetition, so maybe even double the reps, so maybe like in the 10 to 15 range, or even do work for a minute. So I'm going to show you in this sequence. I'm going to do 10 squat thrusts with 10 high pulls, then I'm going to do 3 windmills each way, and then I'm going to do 10 swings, and then I'm going to do 3 on each side, clean, drop, lunge, and press in the bottom position. So that's how I'm going to show it to you. You can scale this or program it however you want to do that, but this is going to be a really good and really effective way for you to program it. So let's take a look at this. I'm not going to coach you too much, but I am going to give you a few coaching cues. The best way for this to start is we're just going to put the kettlebell flat on the ground with the handle facing away from you. We're going to be right up next to it, and it's just going to be a squat thrust like you may have done, just coming down in position. Boom, here. Here, we're going to tip the handle back. High pull. Boom. So this is a little bit more of a squatted high pull than I would normally do with a kettlebell, but since we're moving through this position at complex, that's what we wanted to do. Push back. Boom. Here, tip the handle up. I'm still driving all the movement up from my legs. I'm not lifting it up with my arms. They're just guiding it up close to my body. I think I've got 4 done there. There's 5. This is 8. 9. All right, 10. I'm using a pretty light kettlebell here. You can use whatever weight you want, but since there's going to be a conditioning component, it's usually better to shy on the conservative side. Windmill. We're going to point the foot that we're going towards in basically a 90-degree direction from the place we're facing. We're going to bring the kettlebell up into the rack position, and we're going to turn our backside, or the same side as the kettlebell is, at about a 45 degree. From there, we're going overhead, nice and straight. Eyes are always on the kettlebell. Front knee's bent, but we're not bending. And we're going to push back. We're going to open this palm, and it's to whatever degree we can get to. Once we get to the bottom position, nice deep breath. And all the way back up. Really bracing through here, pushing through the hip and glute. I'm a little stiff, so let me take this watch off real quick. I notice different stiffnesses and technique deviance on one side of the body or the other. So same thing here. up, nice and vertical. We're keeping the kettlebell right over the shoulder, completely locked out. We're tighten up the lat underneath, and again, eyes on that kettlebell. Pushing this hip back towards the wall behind me, and then opening up my chest as I move down. All right, next classic swing. You may or not do new swings, but most people when they start out learning kettlebells, they squat and swing. And we want to really focus on the hips. Hips are so important for all athletics, but really super important, especially in wrestling. Both being able to move them, flatten them, and then explode with them. So heels in line with the handles. We're going to reach back with good posture. Hips are flexed and loaded. Pick the kettlebell off the ground. So I'm automatically going to start to swing and pendulum. And we're just going to push through the heels and out and away. Again, this is not upper body movement of me gripping the kettlebell and moving it. If that's happening, the kettlebell's bottom will face the ground. It's a resultant of my hips coming back and it's pushing out of the way. I'm extending my body up, I'm tightening my glutes and hamstrings underneath, and my arms have just slung out forward because they're nice and relaxed because of the thrust or force from my hips for the 10 repetitions. Obviously here we need to get it back. We want the kettlebell to come back above the knees for our forearms to touch the inside of our thighs and then back out. Final sequence in this wrestling specific kettlebell workout for my friend is just going to be simply a clean and then into a drop lunge and into a press. So this is kind of what it looks like. I'm going to show you kind of more of a front on view here and then I'll show you the profile. Really important things here. The clean is a really short movement. It's still from the hips. So you're going to break the hips back while keeping good posture. Just like the swing and high pull. Push back. Boom. You're going to move the kettlebell around. The kettlebell's coming around and you're catching it nice and vertical, kind of like you're putting a hand in a glove. From there, torso nice and tall. We're dropping back. A little bit bigger step than you usually think. Change elevation. Oops. Pressing the bottom, nice strong core. Keeping the torso right over the hips. And then right back into it. It's a really short, compact movement with the clean. So you have to really work on your timing and gradiating your force that you need. And the other side, so you can take a look at this. So that clean, you're just pushing back, doing a little bit of drive from the hips coming up, and then we're moving the body around the kettlebell, not flipping the kettlebell over our body. It's not a flipping motion. It's coming up, and we're going to scoop under and get our hand nice and vertical. So let's go to the other side. Last one. On the press portion, we haven't talked much about it. It's very valuable and important, but we want to press nice and vertical. So you can't see my ear from the side. I'm completely locked out. We don't want to press out the front of our body, right over our torso, and back up. So there you have it. A really simple kettlebell concept or complex for my good friend's son, a young youth wrestler, that he can apply, start to learn that's relevant to his sport. You're doing squat thrust with 2-hand high pull for 10. Then you're doing windmill, each side, 3 reps each side. Then you're going to swings for 10. Then you're going to come into a clean drop lunge and press in the bottom position. So hopefully you find this helpful if you're a wrestler or if you just want to use it for general conditioning and strengthening. That's an awesome little complex that you can apply for yourself as well. But for him, this is going to be really valuable in developing the musculature and strength that he needs for his sport. So have a good one. I hope you come back for more.